Roberto, where are you calling from?
Costa Rica right now. Yeah.
Oh, you're the first
hmm
Costa Rican artist that we have on the lives.
Oh, for real? That's awesome. Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Oh, of course. We like to do these because we have obviously artists from around the world, 150 countries, and we wanted to create a place where everybody could learn from each other.
hmm
So would love to learn a little bit more. And you're also an illustration artist, and I haven't been able to speak with one yet.
Well, right now I'm a photographer and a videographer. I'd say more into lifestyle kind of photography. For work, like for work kind of thing, I do a lot of video, institutional videos, and I'm getting a lot into virtual classes for universities that need it right now. And I also I can't stay still for a lot of time. So that's why illustration has been like a good getaway and something that I really enjoy doing. Um, but anyways, I started out as an architect. I'm an architect as a profession.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so yeah, it all started like in the architecture school and photography as well. Mostly on the trips I started going out from the country. I've been traveling for a long time, but architecture and photography always go kind of hand in hand. So yeah, it's mostly what I do right now. hmm
And if you're an architect, I mean, your images are not of buildings. So how do you find inspiration outside of that? And
Um,
same with your
I guess most of the time I find scale kind of like a thing that I want to portray on the things that I photograph. Um, Putting
Mhm.
people, in the frames um, and showing the scale of things. And but
The scale, like the dimensions. So
yes, like dimensions of things, like small people and um, big landscapes, or not even like that big of a landscape, but showing how
mm.
the person is using the landscape. That's how lifestyle kind of comes into place, and I like making the viewer getting into the scene and being a part of the scene in a way.
Talk to me about some of the illustrations that you do.
It's kind of like starting out a little bit. I started drawing, from architecture and even before that. But right now, with the facility or with the easy, like a good way to portray your idea into paper with, just an Apple Pencil is kind of like mind blowing to me. And I've been going at it with the iPad and the illustrations, and I don't know, it's kind of like a way to just let my ideas go free uh, wherever I am.
What app do you use for it on your
Right
iPad?
now, that's all right. Procreate right now. It's the one I'm trying to use the most. It's really, really fun to use. I encourage you to just start going at it. It's really cool. hmm
When did you start to work on Procreate?
Um, a month ago, a month and a half ago, maybe.
Oh, wow, really?
Yeah. I did watercolor for a while, and it was just something that I really started doing, and I didn't have the time or the mind space at the moment, and I just you know started going, and
Mhm.
from then on it's been just like all up there. Yeah, but it's cool. I really like it. I'm doing like stickers and trying to go with shirts and t-shirts and all that. Kind of like getting the ball rolling in a way. hmm
Are there any like themes that you that go throughout your photography, videography, and illustrations? Or are you just kind of like whatever inspires you, you work on?
Um, Right now, it kind of has like two ways. The first one is, for example, on my Instagram or the things that I try to post are mostly about positivity, and just because of the idea,
Mm.
I think this is like kind of like a thing I have, but that we are bombarded with so many bad news and stuff that
Yeah.
fills our emotions with negativity. So given that we have like a kind of like a voice on social media, I kind of try, even though I know my following isn't that huge, to give a little bit of more positivity and internalizing stuff, and being alone with yourself in a way, and kind of like getting those ideas, or getting those emotions like real, making them real. Like Instagram kind of makes you so like a facade of yourself in a way.
Mm.
So it's I try to always like bring that positivity into the posts, the things I post, and nature and people, and they all go hand in hand. And I just try to write a little bit more and get people inspired to follow the things that they really like to do, and not just the Instagram dream. That's kind of like what I feel when I try to portray or do images, even
Mm.
for brands and even for products. I try to
Mm.
always bring that, peacefulness and landscape, kind of like nature always gives that peacefulness. So yeah, it goes. Everything is like a mixture of things. But I
Can
really enjoy it.
Does
Yeah.
it help with like, are there ways that you play with the colors, or how can you make something like a nature shot positive?
It always depends on the elements that go into place. We always think of nature just like a forest or of the sea. But
Mm.
when you play with colors, mostly with blues and oranges, when you mix them up, um, they always bring that kind of like tranquility into the frame. This is something I learned from like a very famous photographer on Instagram, Chris Burkard. Um, I've had a couple of classes with him, and he always tells this. And by the way, he doesn't see color the normal way. I forgot the name of that.
Colorblind?
Yeah, he's kind of like
Yeah.
colorblind, so
Someone
it's pretty. It's amazing how a photographer that's so famous you know, can go the lengths of what he did. So what he does, but yeah, he always tells us like he told us that blues and oranges will always be a good mixture for the eyes and for the mind. It's kind of like color, yeah, playing with colors. And I always try to bring those hues into play, and I don't know. I kind of feel it. I try not to go like too dark or too light or you know.
So I want to learn a little bit more about Costa Rica. Tell me
Yeah,
about like
sure.
like what is around you, and I'm sure tons of people are curious about going there. What do you see as the challenges? I know it's like what are the challenges for you?
Okay, so first Costa Rica. Costa Rica is full of nature.
Yeah.
I would encourage you, everyone, like whoever is listening, to come. Right now, we've got like all the protocols and everything that the government has asked, and everybody is trying to make the best to
Mm.
bring back tourism, because we were mostly driven by tourism
Mm.
here in, everything was just like uh, tourist based. So it was kind of like a difficulty for us with the pandemic and everything. What else? Like, we have two seas. It's a very small country in the middle of both Americas. So it's in Central America. It's a small country.
What about you
Um,
as an artist? Like, what is your challenge as an artist there?
okay, so I think one of the hardest things is competing with the the amount of photographers that are out there, and staying like in just one thing. I think like most of the people that go into photography think that it's just gonna go like it's gonna be super easy, super fun, but it's always like any other business. You really have to go out there and uh, send emails and be in contact with people, and uh,
Mm.
you know being out there, and positioning yourself. It's not going to go easy as everybody portrays it. So I think the one of the difficulties is always like being one step ahead, and trying to go around and do as many things as an artist you can do. And if you have, um, if you're a photographer, try to always, if you really want to be in photography, like really know your prices, know what you value yourself as, and always put that price in front. And not only because of the money, but because there are a lot of other people trying to actually make this their profession. And if you never value yourself, the client will eventually stop valuing everybody else.
Yeah.
People are just going to think that a photographer doesn't really need to charge because there's Instagram, there's people that
So
just
are your clients like, do you get international clients, or they're mainly in Costa Rica?
I do have a couple of international clients at the moment.
So you were talking about the customers, like you have to email people and you have to do that work. What percent, like, is it a lot that you look for outside companies, or are you trying to make more of like a local business for yourself?
Yeah, I think right now it's more like a local kind of thing, mostly because it's easier to talk with the clients and be engaging a lot more with them. And if you know the places and you know how to connect with the local people, it's just going to be easier to get yourself a client. Instagram does help a lot with international clients. I think right now it's overly saturated, and it might be a little bit harder to get those clients.
Yeah.
But it's not impossible. There's always kind of like you can always be like the blue, the purple cow, with this book called The Purple Cow. And it's just something that's different, and somebody really, really wants you because there's an artistic difference, like complete difference. So yeah, I think locally it's the best way to start out. Then it will eventually snowball into something greater. It can always be, it can be a good chance. You can have a good chance at that.
Because tourism was such a big part of the economy, do you think there's a new opportunity now for you that
I do. As I told you in the beginning, I've started out a lot with universities and schools and trying to help other businesses grow or keep themselves afloat in a way, and telling their story. So I think there's even a greater opportunity for us as videographers, as photographers, as marketers, as designers, all these artists and people who want to actually help. There will always be a retribution for yourself and for the other brand if you're actually helping them be there and be in the market and help themselves stand out. So even if clients think that it's a waste of money right now, I think it's actually a really good investment to start doing good photography and good videography for your brand, because you do have to stand out and you do have to bring more clients in. So it's a good opportunity, but clients do have to learn or understand that they do need this right now.
How can you have you tried to convince somebody and it worked? Like somebody that was like, no, I don't need this. How do you do that?
I think I've had really like good luck in a sense. Good luck is built in a way, but when you portray like a good feeling to clients and tell them like, you can do this in a better way. Like I can give you a better product and you're gonna have better clients. They will understand if they give you a chance. When they have the small chance, they might actually be a longer client, like a longer standing client for yourself. So it has to go like it has to be like a real small chance. You have to have like a really small chance to do that. But if you get that small chance, if you write the right email, um, and or talk, or get to know people that might need photography, it's all about connections at the end. But if you have a little bit of luck and a little bit of, you're in the right place at the right time, you might actually have like a better client, like a longer, yeah, client. And I think I've had good luck in a way.
For
But
for like beginners, what is the easiest client to get?
that's a hard question because I don't think there's an easy client. Um, there's never an easy client, the easiest clients always have the worst problems. So, and that's for real. So, or the things that you actually have to work a lot more to please. So I think the easiest client would be, a family member or a friend that has seen your work or has seen you grow in a way and values the work that you do and knows that there's going to be value with what you're going to give them, and eventually they are going to benefit from whatever you're going to give them. It's always a good exchange to remember that you're not working only for yourself, you're working for somebody else to grow. As a photographer, as a videographer, you're helping them. You're not only helping yourself with the money that you're being given.
What kind of changes to the photography business do you anticipate? Oh, rewarding.
Rewarding.
What's rewarding client work that you've done?
It's an international client. I can't say that I work for them, but it's a product brand that actually contacted me from the States, because they wanted photography for their brand. But they have been a long client right now, and it's amazing when you can do your work, the things that you like, and just give that feeling to the product that you're doing photography to.
Is it because they wanted photography from Costa Rica?
They actually want photography from all around the world. They have photographers everywhere. But yes, I think that it's amazing to actually do whatever you love and being paid for that. I know that's very cliche, but in a way, when you're doing photography, you really want to be enjoying what you're doing, what you're photographing.
And what do you enjoy about it?
I enjoy being out there, being working with people, being in a way like just taking my camera to a trip and enjoying the moment that I'm photographing, and having real connections with other people, and exchanging
Are these strangers?
that.
Are they strangers that you're meeting, or are they also connected with the brand?
They're strangers for the brand, but people that I know. So yeah, it's a bracelet company, and they just wanted different lifestyle shoots, and I could have the models that I wanted or the people that I wanted in the photos, as long as they were convincing and they went along with the brand guidelines.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of like the most rewarding kind of job that I've done at the moment.
That's great. Well, we have another question from
For
also
sure.
a lifestyle photographer who you should check out his work. It's really amazing. Walla Savage Photo. He's saying, what kinds of changes to the photography business do you anticipate in the next decade, especially considering how COVID has changed things?
I think I haven't actually thought about that at the moment, but I think that it might sound weird, but I think that most of the people that thought that photography was easy, where there was kind of like the thing that, oh, I just want to do that,
Yeah.
they're going to understand that it's it's a job, and it's hard to actually stand in your position and be there, you know. And maybe I don't know. This is complete speculation that it might change in that way. Like people might actually value a little bit more the real the professional photography industry. But it's changing so much. It's also changing into video a lot. So I think that video, if you're a photographer and want to level up in a way, you should also start getting to know video. Maybe this is just my way of seeing it, because it works and people are valuing a lot more video than at least in Costa Rica than photography. But yeah, I think it's going to change. Like it will depend so much on circumstances, and definitely connections with people are going to be different. They are different right now. We don't get to go out a lot, so we don't get to shoot that much. So it's changing, but in a way, people are also wanting to go out and wanting to enjoy and wanting to share. So yeah, it will change. I don't know. I don't know. It would be speculating a lot. I'd be speculating a lot. You know?
Yeah. Well, I see a lot of demand growing, especially for something unique. I mean, it's funny because a lot of people tell me, oh, like the photo market is saturated. There's too many photos out there. And then when you
Yeah.
think about it, everything from the iPhone photo all the way to the most produced, interesting photo.
Mhm.
When I look at that, I'm actually saying, oh no, actually think that the market, like the photography industry or still images, is actually in its infancy. It's in a very, very beginning stage, because you're talking
Yeah.
about, if you look 50 years ago and the photos that we're able to produce, like in the portrait studios, all the way to where we are now. And now there's like this big range of like
Mhm.
whether you can use your phone or your camera or your video or even Snapchat to take an image. And then you
Yeah.
have the artistic element on top of it. Like, how can you make this more interesting, even in terms of illustrations? So I think that me and you and our moms and our little siblings and
Yeah.
everybody's starting to learn more about
You're right. Mhm.
judging the value of that piece of content, which
Mhm.
shows me, okay, that means that it's early. Like, you know, it's
Yeah.
it's early because people aren't. So I think there's a huge misunderstanding. And when you're saying, oh,
Mhm.
they're now maybe valuing my work more, it's because also platforms like Instagram have them appreciate your art more, and they can
Yeah.
actually start to di- not discriminate, but understand what's good, what's bad, what's
Yeah.
interesting, what's unique, who's talented, who's not talented. And that's, again, that's something that nobody can do by themselves. As you said, sometimes it takes 10 years before you develop a style. Uh,
That's true.
so, so I hope they
Now
make
that
their
you
way
mentioned,
more beyond the internet. Like, I think that public spaces, as an architect, they're missing a lot of
mhm.
that reflection, and it's still inaccessible too. So I would be interested to see, like, also photography grow in the public spaces, not just
Mhm.
even video or visual art in general, and make our world like more beautiful instead of having all that beauty just live online.
For sure. Yeah, yeah, you're totally right. And now that you mentioned that, like with the growing with photography from phones to, you know, cameras and everything, like every range of art, and everybody having access to it, it goes it goes like it connects a lot with what's happening with, you know, my iPad and when my illustration is going. Like it's so fast, you know, and everybody has the chance to bring their ideas into place, and we need that, you know, we need all those ideas from people and people sharing like points of views at the end, because it's so the thing about social media that maybe I always think about is that most of the time we see the same things like over and over and over, and I think that this perspective that you put in place, it's good that it happens, because people are going to get their own point of view, and it makes everything so much interesting, having people from all around the world having access to art and artistic um, mediums. In a way, they're just going to give more opportunities to more people, and more um, more opening up of worlds. And that's what I think it's really cool at the end.
Yeah. So is there any like place that you've learned from that you didn't think you would, like online? I know you mentioned you took some courses, but is there anything else you think like, oh, this is a well of information, or these are artists, how you can learn more?
Like I told you, I can't stay like still for a long time. I think I've had that opportunity of, like never staying like in one place, because it just gets, for me, it gets kind of like boring. So I try to always do as many things as I can. Um, Social media helps a lot, but traveling always brings inspiration to all that. When I was able to travel, I got to know so many cultures that also portrayed their art in a way, in a different way. So I don't know, I always get things from everywhere else and try to portray my own way of seeing it, even though it might always not feel like, um, I don't know. I'm thinking about the thought of originality and how it comes into place, and I think originality is never um, original. It's always like,
Yeah.
Fight Club, a copy, a copy of a copy. So when you start doing stuff, when you start even photography or doing illustration, if you like it, just start copying, start, and doing, and if you like it, just keep doing it. There's no
Mm.
nobody's telling you that you can't.
But a lot
The
of
only
people have like back talk that tells them, don't do this, this is not good enough.
Yeah.
How do you tell your mind you should take a risk, you should try this? How do you get that in your mind?
I think there's always a huge expectation before you start doing things. Like, am I going to make money with this? Am I going to, be famous because of this? Am I going to, all these things that we start thinking about, that they're not true, that they're not even present. You can always start doing stuff if you like it. And if you don't like it, I mean, you don't have to buy yourself a computer to start doing photography or start doing video. Like, I mean, there's always people that can help you out if you have, um, if if you have some part of it, and then build a team or whatever. But it always depends on what your heart is telling you. Like, you have to get this out in a way, or you have to do this, or try it. There's nobody's expecting you to be amazing at it at first, but you can start. It's always a matter of unblocking yourself from thinking that there's pressure in you because you have to be amazing at it since the beginning. That's how I go into stuff. Like, I always meditate a little bit into it, and then say like, okay, I'm just gonna try with the most basic thing, and start. You know,
And
and
it
then
feels
when you
like
start,
nature helps you do that too. Is that right?
nature. Yeah, if I didn't have if I didn't have so much, so many places to breathe, like the real, air, it might be a little bit harder, because nature is always like a big part of every Costa Rican, I would say.
Mm.
And I think everybody needs a little bit of, that space for breathing. I know not everybody has that chance, but at least if you can
Mm.
find yourself a small place in your apartment, or or your house or whatever, and you can actually be alone with yourself and stop, having your phone with you and computer, and you can just breathe and be with you,
Mm.
and find those small spaces. If it's outside, if it's inside, you can always, listen a little bit more into whatever it is that you actually want, and not what society tells you that you actually want. So if you find those places, if you find that space, you can always, yeah, try to figure out whatever it is you really want to do and start.
Pleasure to have you on, and I'm sure people took tons of tidbits from that.
For sure. Thank you, Christina. I appreciate it. I really do.